I am here with Danielle Scruggs, who is a photographer, a writer, visual editor, and the founder and curator of Black Women Directors, which is a digital archive and curated newsletter and Substack publication. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And your topic today is 90s Black cinema soundtracks.
Yes, yes.
Is-
Like when you asked me, what can I talk about for 20 minutes straight? I'm like, oh yeah, like that.
I'm excited for this. I have some ideas of how to enter the conversation, but we'll see where it takes us. So I will start the 20-minute timer.
Okay.
And why did you choose this topic?
Yeah, so I chose it because so initially I had a much broader topic of 90s black cinema. And then when I slept on it, I realized, oh, actually a way to narrow that down would be talking about soundtracks
Yeah.
because I feel like 90s soundtracks and particularly well, there's like also some that came out in like the early 2000s, like Love and Basketball and
Yeah.
Brown Sugar. But for the most part, the 90s, like I feel like there was definitely like a shift in how Black movie soundtracks were um put together and marketed as well. Because like in the 70s, it was all about like the singular artist doing like the whole soundtrack. So you had
Yeah.
like Marvin Gaye doing Trouble Man, Curtis Mayfield doing Superfly, Gladys Knight and the Pips doing Claudine. But then in the 90s, you had something like different where it was all about all these like different Black superstars in music coming together for like these soundtracks. And sometimes the soundtracks were better than the movies. Or like, but for the most part, the soundtrack release was like as big of a deal as the movie
Yeah.
release itself. So yeah.
I mean that's something I was trying to think of the last great soundtrack. And like I can't
Right.
I really I'm sure there's something that I'm not thinking of, but it's there's nothing that comes to mind.
It's rare. It's
Yeah.
because like I'll say like this like movie scores are really good.
Right.
The score to Moonlight and the score to If Beale Street Could Talk are beautiful, but like as far as like a soundtrack, like the way that they were put together, like in like
Yeah.
the 90s in particular, like that, yeah, that just like doesn't really
There
happen
has been that a huge shift in like songs to score, I think.
anymore. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the other thing that like some of the soundtracks that you were recommending, I look at it's like a crazy mix of generations. Like Waiting to Exhale, it's like Whitney Houston, Tony Braxton, Brandy, TLC, Mary J. Blige, and then Aretha Franklin.
Yeah,
Love and
yeah.
Basketball is like Al Green, Marvin Gaye, and then you have like New Edition, Cool Mo D, Donnell Jones. It's like old soul and like R&B that was
Yeah.
emerging at the time. Is like really fascinating mix of genre.
Yeah, like definitely like there was definitely more like kind of like you're bridging the gap in between generations in a lot of ways. And like, and
Yeah,
I feel like that's also something that gets kind of missing with like the streaming era and things like that. Like people can, people can curate their own playlists and like or well, now it's like TikTok, like people like curating like what they see on TikTok, like for music discovery. Like it, God, I feel like very like, how do you do fellow kids? Like when I'm talking about like how do people do music discovery now? But yeah, like it, like you had someone else like you had like professionals like curating like these soundtracks and like there was like definitely more of a mix of like generations together. And so like when I was a kid in the 90s, I still knew like who Aretha Franklin was and who Marvin Gaye was, in part because of these well, part of it was because my parents would play that music, but also part of it was like hearing it in these soundtracks. Then it's like, I'm going in for like Brandy and Tony Braxton, but then
yeah.
like I'm hearing, like Aretha Franklin in there too. So it's like you kind of get like the best of both worlds.
I wonder how much of it was that movies at that like in the 90s. Now we have with like TikTok and just streaming in general, there's just um much more content that's available for like specific audiences. But back then you wanted to get the whole family to go to a movie.
Mhm.
So you had to like, engage the parents, but you also had to engage the kids. Um,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And so I feel like these soundtracks are also a glimpse into like um what it looked like when films just had to market or appeal to like I guess they call it four quadrants, or maybe this isn't quite four quadrants because it's not like young kids, but trying to get the whole family to go to the theater together.
Yeah, yeah, like that's like a really interesting point too, because like, and it's and it's interesting because like there's like this kind of myth in Hollywood that like, Black stories don't sell or like Black stories don't travel, but then like, these movies and like these soundtracks in particular too sold like millions of copies and like they're like super popular like even now, especially like The Waiting to Exhale.
Yeah.
Well, the movie and the soundtrack like are both like really popular still, and like the Love Jones soundtrack is still really popular. So, yeah, like I think like it's like, but yeah, I do agree with you that it also is kind of like a look back into like how marketing used to work and like also like how I don't want to, well, I guess it's kind of like monoculture still existing in a certain way, like you know you see something advertised in your local paper or like you hear something on the radio and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go see that movie, or like I'm gonna go buy that soundtrack because like I saw like an ad for it in a magazine, and it's like, and then you get to school, everyone's talking about the same thing, like it's kind of, yeah, it's definitely not like that anymore. Like everyone has like been able to kind of like curate their own like individual bubbles, whereas like back then it's like, yeah, like yeah, everyone was kind of like, did you see Waiting to like did you see
Yeah.
this movie? Did you see that?
And
Did you hear
everyone
this?
was listening to the same thing. Like I could not tell you what is on the top charts right now.
Oh, absolutely not.
Um, like
Like
back then,
me either.
everyone was listening to the same music.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm curious, like you would probably know this better than me, but like two of my favorite albums of all time are Black Orpheus, which was 1959, which brought like bossa nova music to
Oh,
America,
yeah.
and then The Harder They Come, which was 1972, which like popularized arguably reggae in
Mhm.
America. So I mean, like black music coming from soundtracks.
Mhm.
I mean, and then obviously like you have Superfly and
Mhm.
like all the Trouble Man, just soul
Oh,
music. It's always been it's always hit mainstream culture in one way or another.
yeah. Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I guess the 90s I think was a real explosion for that.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. Like, and I feel like I don't know if it feels like it hasn't really been the same since, really. Like, I hope I don't sound like I have my nostalgia goggles on too much, but like when it comes to like having like a real diversity of like Black movie releases, like it, I don't, it just seemed like to me in the 90s, like there was just like so many more options and like there was so many more, like if you wanted to see like an action or if you wanted an action movie or like a drama or a comedy, like or a rom-com, like those options were there. Whereas now the options are there, but like it's definitely not like you're not getting like the big release like in the theater the way that it used to happen. And like, I mean, even now, like when you think of like major motion pictures in theater, like getting theatrical releases that have a predominantly Black cast or like have like a Black director. So there was Sinners,
Yeah.
it had a, and
I
like,
I don't even know. Yeah, I have a tough time following like what is even the whole ecosystem to me is very broken. But yeah,
mhm,
it's definitely become more I don't know what's the right word, like I think Get Out is probably a good example of like that's a film that was very popularized and
Mhm.
got a lot of attention, but they're, it's very singular. In the
Mhm.
90s, there
Mhm.
was a lot of black cinema.
Yeah, there was like a lot. Yeah, there was like so many options that you could choose from, whereas now it's like
There,
very like kind of few and far between, kind of. Oh,
yeah,
I guess there was him that also came out earlier this year too, which was, but yeah, I was like trying to, as far as like movies with like, yeah, like black cast or like black, yeah, yeah, it's kind of
it's like the ones that do
yeah.
get spotlighted get overly spotlighted in a weird way, and that overshadows like the sort of diversity of, just more options and more genres. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but like, so another thing I was thinking about is like, so I guess what happens to the soundtrack and why, like, where did it go wrong? Is it something that went wrong? Did we lose something? Is it just that like CDs stopped and there was no
Yeah,
physical
I think
media?
I think it really is like streaming just like changed everything. And not necessarily for I don't know, it's kind of like for better and for worse. It's kind of like both and. Like I feel like with streaming, it's like you do get like so many more options available to you, but then at the same time, like certain things get lost, like having like feeling like soundtracks or like movies are like these big cultural events. Like it's it just like doesn't really happen like that anymore. I mean, I guess like the closest thing to that now is like Sinners, because
Yeah,
that like that's just like such like a phenomenon. And then the soundtrack is like really amazing too, because it's like this mix of like blues and
yeah.
soul music and um but again, it's also kind of like it's more like about the score than it is about like the soundtrack itself. So
It's the
yeah.
yeah, the way the music is integrated in Sinners is very like instrumental to the film.
Hmm.
That yeah, it's not like the Waiting to Exhale and Love and Basketball. These are like songs that are very, they can be very easily divorced from the film. Like they're also meant to be listened to. Uh,
Hmm.
and yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, like,
Yeah, like that's a good point too, because like sometimes like this like songs were definitely part of like the movies, like Shoop was in like Waiting to Exhale and things like that, um but like the soundtrack as a whole is definitely like here's like the hottest artist versus like
yeah,
of the day, and here's like songs that were in the movies too, but like it's also like this gathering of like who's like the hottest artist like right now,
right.
or like who's like um kind of like resonating with people right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, well, yeah. I mean, Sinners is just it's a really great example because it's I mean, it uses music in such a unique way.
Hmm.
And I wonder if it is like trying to kind of bring back uh something that was lost in the
That
last
bring
couple decades where
Yeah.
just didn't really have.
Oh, you know what? I just thought of something though, because like okay, so the Black Panther soundtrack is
Oh,
actually kind of like
that's actually,
the
yeah,
closest,
that's a
yeah,
good
that's
point.
kind of like the closest analog there is to like kind of how like 90s black cinema soundtracks
Yeah,
were. Even though like it was like curated by Kendrick Lamar, so it's like his, fingerprints are all over it, but there was still like this combination of like because actually, that was like really like the first real introduction I had to like hyphy music from like Oakland.
oh,
And like that kind of goes into like how like there was Ryan Coogler is like connecting things to like his Oakland roots, and like how like that was like part of the Black Panther movie. And then like in the soundtrack, like you have like a lot of like Oakland artists and things like that. But then also like South African artists too. So kind of like it was kind of like yeah, kind of like instead of bridging generations, it's more like you're bridging genres and like bridging like diasporas together.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. So is Ryan Coogler like single-handedly bringing back the soundtrack?
Right? It's like he's bringing back
Who
soundtracks.
who
Like,
else is doing soundtracks?
yeah, no one's really doing that. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, Ryan Coogler. Like, yes, like saving movies. saving the soundtrack. Like,
Um, so I was thinking of like when this fell apart. Um, and I agree that it's like physical media, but like looking at these albums, the ones that you sent to me,
Mhm.
and maybe like just for people who might be watching this, like if there's others you want to add, just if people want to get into 90s black cinema soundtracks, like where should they start? You said to me Soul Food, Waiting to Exhale, Mo Money, and Love and Basketball were the four
Yeah.
you
Oh
pointed.
yeah, I
Okay.
forgot that I told you about More Money. Yeah, that's a really good soundtrack. That's like a Janet Jackson, Luther Vandross, Ralph Tresvant for New Edition. Like, yeah, that's like a heavy hitter soundtrack, even though the movie itself is it's fine. But like the soundtrack is really, really good.
But yeah, that's one I'm not very familiar with that
Oh yeah,
I need to
yeah,
dig
it's like
in.
early Damon Wayans and Marlon Wayans and
You
yeah.
know what it is I on Spotify, I'm pretty sure like half of the songs aren't. Oh, it's all the Damon Wayans songs are not available, so
Oh yeah, that's the thing too with
I
streaming is
couldn't
like
listen to it. Yeah,
a lot of these soundtracks are not on streaming. Like the Soul Food soundtrack is not on streaming. There are people who put together playlists
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
that like kind of that's like here's like all the songs that were on it, but like the official soundtracks are like unfortunately not there. But Love Jones is streaming, Waiting to Exhale is streaming,
yeah,
and Love and Basketball, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure
It
that's
is.
still streaming. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But all right. So I was tell me if this is like completely off topic, but um, the movie Wild Wild West,
Oh yeah.
a movie I have no idea. I've never seen it. I
Oh,
have. Okay, so
it's not good.
right.
Like,
So this is like I'm trying to think of like um where things went wrong.
mhm.
Uh, and all I know about that song is the that movie is that one song,
Oh
the Will Smith
yeah.
titles, and it's almost like I don't I anybody who did see that movie pretty much has the reaction you did, like
Mhm.
so, uh,
Right.
and like but that I don't even remember the song to be. I vaguely remember the song, but I remember being very like overplayed, and I just remember that whole marketing campaign. That whole movie was just like all about this one Will Smith song. I don't think they even uh one, I have no idea what else was on the soundtrack, and I have no idea what that movie was about. Um,
Yeah,
I'm,
it was pretty bad. Cause actually I remember we went to the theaters to see it because it was like Will Smith summer because like the
yeah,
previous summer it was like Independence Day and like that made like a gazillion dollars um yeah, but yeah, Wild Wild West, that was not a good movie. It was like a very convoluted plot. Like even when I was a kid, I was like, what? Like, um, and
I don't,
um, and then like yeah, there was like that big single that was like the single was like way better than the movie. I didn't buy the soundtrack though, but like yeah, like that song was everywhere. Like that was
I feel like
I remember that being
whole,
everywhere.
I feel like that whole movie was made for that song,
For
and
this song, right? They had to
that's
like
my
just
hypothesis that like because these soundtracks were so like huge in the 90s, and Wild Wild West was 1999. I know like Love and Basketball I think was 2000.
oh yeah. Mhm.
Some of these were still but like people knew that you could market soundtracks, and I feel like that whole movie's marketing campaign was that one song.
That's the
Um,
song,
and
yeah.
I think that maybe that was like I was just trying to think of a moment of like where did this all kind of stop? Where did these great soundtracks like kind of when did they go away? And I was like, well,
Yeah.
there were these ones that they weren't even advertising the soundtrack; they were just advertising one song
Mhm.
because they probably realized that's all they
Yeah.
needed.
It's all yeah, exactly. Because it's like, yeah, Will Smith, because Will Smith in like,
Right.
the late 90s, it's like he was ruling
Right. Yeah.
everything. And so yeah, they probably like were like, yeah, like all we need is the song and like that'll get people in there. And then, but then unfortunately everyone saw the movie and they were like, oh no, like we don't want this.
Yeah. And then we lost it for 20 years. And
Yeah,
maybe
right.
maybe Ryan Coogler's bringing it back now. But We only have 45 seconds left. This really
Oh
goes
wow.
fast. I know, right?
This went by so
I know.
fast.
I feel like you should end with like any like recommend anything else to folks. Like what should we listen to, watch that really represents this time period for you?
Oh yeah. I would say like if there was like one that I would recommend, it probably would be well, two. So Waiting to Exhale soundtrack and then the Love Jones soundtrack, just because I think both kind of represent like the best of the 90s basically and like the best of like 90s Black cinema. And I think like both soundtracks like really like bridge genres, bridge generations together. And like yeah, they're just like a real like kind of wonderful slice of yeah, so it feels weird to say slice of history about something that happened in the 90s, but like kind of like a real like yeah, it's like a real like moment in time and like it really gives you a sense of like what it was like growing up in the 90s and like seeing those stars and like hearing that music.
Yeah. That was our 20 minutes. But yeah, it's a really great topic, and I'm really glad that you switched to this. Um,
Yeah.
even
Yeah, this
though
is
I
fun.
forget what your it was just 90s black cinema originally.
Right, right,
Still
which
sort
is
of
like super
existed.
broad.
I would, yeah, but like this, yeah, this is something that I think is really it's a really fun thing to think about, that I think a lot of people just kind of forget what
Yeah, like what
soundtrack
that was.
culture was like. And when you really look at it and see like how it was mixing generations, and think about how it was like bringing the family to the theater together, and
Yeah.
the soundtrack was sometimes, more important than the movie. And yeah, it's just a whole different time.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. Like I was thinking a lot about like just how much I've seen technology and like trends and culture shift like from when I was growing up to now. And it's just wow, like these kids today, like but they really have no idea like kind of what it was like for everyone to be watching the same thing at the same time or listening
Yeah.
to the same things at the same time and having arguments at school about it. And yeah, it's like very different time.
Well, I had a lot of fun revisiting these albums, and some of them listening for the first time. So,
Oh, cool,
anyone who's watching
cool.
this, you guys should listen to this. It's great music, and it's just such a nice window to I guess if you grew up in the 90s, to
Yeah.
childhood. Well, thank you so much for coming, Danielle.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, it was great. Right. Take care.
Right.